Does it seem counterintuitive to you that I'm talking about buying before we have even started market research or have any product ideas? But no, it really isn't, because by establishing your buying power and setting boundaries on product selection based on this number, you'll save lots of time by simply eliminating products that are not suitable for your budget. What does buying power mean, and how do you properly calculate it? It basically consists of two parts. 1. How much money you have to invest in stock. 2. How many units of the product it allows you to buy. The first part, the budget you have for stock. This is basically the money you have right now to pay for goods, shipping, import duties, and taxes. For people with small budgets, you'll have to leave a reserve that will cover other expenses such as software, Amazon account subscription fee, cost of getting samples from suppliers, inspection services in China, brand creation, logo and packaging design, trademark registration fees, product photography fees. For all this, you will have to keep a reserve of around £500. So, for example, if your overall budget is £1,000, you have to take off £500 for these other costs, which leaves your buying power at £500. Now, with that being said, there are ways to minimize that £500 number by keeping software costs to a minimum, not doing inspections in China, finding a cheaper designer for logo and packaging designs, not registering a trademark at the very beginning, using lower quality product photography services, or by doing it on your own for free. I guess by optimizing these costs, you can bring that number down to £200 to £300. But I don't think it is possible to go lower than that and still maintain the level of quality you need to create a great product offer on Amazon. Do I recommend you cut these costs? No, I don't. I believe that you need to invest money to make money. I would rather recommend that you save up those missing few £100s as time goes by, as all these expenses won't happen in one day. It will be a process over 1 to 3 months. If you have a full-time job, I'm sure you can find a way to save £100 per month, right? Or find another way to get this extra money, like selling off unwanted stuff on eBay. Either way, I recommend you leave around £500 for other expenses, so subtract this number from the funds available to you now to get your budget purely for buying stock. If, for example, you have £1,500 available, take off £500, which means you have a £1,000 budget for stock. Now comes the second part of the equation. How far can this money go in China, where you will be sourcing your products from? Just a quick side note, I will be using China throughout this course, as most products will be sourced from there. But in some cases, it won't be China. It could be India or Pakistan, for example, or even a European country or US-based manufacturers in some situations. But so there's no confusion, I'll be using China in all examples. Going back to your budget and suppliers. The main principle is to always try to buy goods directly from manufacturers. Not wholesalers, not trading companies, manufacturers. The internet retailing space has become so competitive nowadays that you simply can't afford to buy stock from a middleman while everyone else is buying from manufacturers at the lowest price possible. Well, you can of course do whatever you want, but I'm telling you that if you want to be competitive and maintain good enough margins, you have to buy directly from manufacturers, as they will offer the lowest possible price. And it's not only about price. When you work with the manufacturer directly, you can ask for customizations, various branding options, changes in materials, packaging, and so on. This will be very important in the later stages of the market research process when you'll try to improve and customize the product for your brand. Unfortunately, working directly with manufacturers comes with one disadvantage. They will ask for substantial minimum order quantities, MOQ for short. On average, low-price goods, it will be around 500 units, sometimes even 1,000. You can get lucky and get it down to 300 or less in some specific cases, but in general, when you deal with a manufacturer, expect to order a lot to get that best possible price. This should be your aim anyway, as to keep shipping costs per unit down, you would still want to order hundreds of units at a time. You can't buy 10 items, ship them via courier, and expect to make any profit. I'm afraid that's not how it works. We buy in bulk and ship in bulk, and this is where the low-cost price comes from. This is how you can buy an item for £5 in China and sell it for £20 on Amazon, by buying and shipping in bulk. The problem, however, is that if you pick the wrong product for your buying power, you won't be able to meet suppliers' minimum order quantities, and basically won't be able to source the product cheaply enough. And this can ruin everything you have done on the research side and basically leave you with no option but to abandon that product idea and start over from scratch. I don't want you to waste your time on products that are not suitable for your buying power. Hence, this video and a rough formula and guidelines on what kind of products you need to stick with during the market research process. There are no hard rules to follow, just some guidelines as situations can be different. There is always a chance that you can negotiate the MOQ down with a supplier, even to maybe 100 or 200 units for your first order, or that you find a super cheap supplier for the product you're researching. But still, I would recommend that you stick with these rules as much as possible to save yourself time. If your budget is less than £500, consider products that sell for a maximum of £5 on average on Amazon. If your budget is between £500 to £1,000, the maximum selling price on Amazon should be £10. If your budget is between £1,000 and £2,000, the maximum price on Amazon should be £15. If your budget is between £2,000 and £3,000, the selling price should be no more than £20. If your budget is between £3,000 and £5,000, the maximum price on Amazon should be no more than £30. If your budget is between £5,000 and £10,000, the maximum price should be £50. If your budget is more than £10,000, you can ignore price limits and be open to all product ideas at various price points. Usually, the higher the price for the item is, the lower the minimum order quantity. But you do still want to keep it high, at least 100 units, in order to minimize shipping costs. As I said, these are just general guidelines and are not set in stone, as there can be various exceptions when you'll be able to achieve more with less. But you have to be realistic. Don't expect that with a £1,000 budget, you can source items that sell for £50 on Amazon cheaply enough to make any profit. That won't happen, as you won't be able to buy enough units at a decent price. There's of course nothing stopping you from using a bigger budget on cheaper items. In fact, it's something you should aim for, because reaching the MOQ is one thing. But if you can double or treble that minimum order, then you have real leverage for negotiating the lowest price possible, the best terms, the cheapest custom packaging, and so on. So please don't think you need to max out your budget on the most expensive product you can get. I would actually do the opposite. Say, with a £5,000 budget, I would go for an item that sells for just £10 on Amazon and buy 1,000 units of it. I hope that makes sense. A bigger order always means a lower price, a lower cost for custom packaging, and a lower cost of shipping per item. Okay, you may now be wondering, Andrew, does this mean that with a budget of £500 or just £1,000, I'm doomed and won't be able to find anything good to sell? No, not at all. You will probably have to spend more time on product research, yes, but you can still find very good and profitable products to sell on a small budget. What you'll do is concentrate on those sub-£10 products that can be bought in China for $1 or $2, or even less. There are products that can be bought for, say, 50 cents on Alibaba and sold for £5 or £6 on Amazon, yielding very good returns. You can't, of course, expect to make thousands in profit in the first few months if your budget is just £500. That's simply not going to happen. But if you can make a few £100 profit from that per month, in just a few short months you will have £1,000. Then repeat it all and have £2,000 in another few months' time. For people with small budgets, the only way to grow the business and capital is by reinvesting all profit back into stock, and ideally, add more money from your day job as time goes by to speed up the growth process. It all comes down to your determination and how badly you really want to make this work. I know people who take on a part-time job in the evenings or weekends just to make that extra money to invest in stock and a business. So, it's not like we don't have options. We do. The question is simply, how badly do you want it? Okay, the main lesson to take from this video is that 1. You need to calculate your budget for stock. Make sure to take off a reserve of at least £300, ideally £500, for other expenses. 2. When doing market research, concentrate on products that are suitable for your buying power, keeping in mind the price brackets I gave earlier. 3. The goal is not to buy the highest price goods possible with your budget. In fact, I would recommend that you look for products that are actually cheaper than your buying power, that allows you to get bigger orders with the cheapest unit, branding, and shipping costs possible. There are, of course, exceptions. If you feel that you have found a great product, but it is more expensive than what I have shown you can afford to source, simply go to Alibaba.com and search for that product. You'll see product listings there with MOQs and pricing. Now, this information is widely inaccurate, and without contacting suppliers, you can't take these numbers for granted. But they will give you a very general idea of approximately how much the item will cost in China. Take the higher end of advertised prices, and instead of dollars, simply use pounds instead, as that will roughly cover shipping costs and taxes. For example, if you see that the average price on Alibaba for that product is $20, assume that the total cost will be £20 per unit. And if the average MOQ is 500 units, it means you'll need at least £10,000 to source that product. £20 multiplied by 500. Please ignore the listings that say the MOQ is just 1 unit. Those are usually trading companies or manufacturers who simply use false advertising to get new clients in. In real-life situations, most of the time the MOQ will be at least a few hundred units. In general, the cheaper the product, the higher the MOQ will be. We'll talk more about this all in the product sourcing videos. Okay, that's it. I really hope this video helped you understand what buying power is and how important it is to get it right and look for suitable products for your budget. Do not try to make the situation look better than it is. If you have just £500 for stock, so be it. Don't be sad about it. You'll look for super cheap items you can still afford to buy at high quantity, and ideally try to get some extra money in to help with the other costs of starting a business. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.